So I didn't want to do this video because I wanted to further think and have time, but now I've got 50 subscribers after 8 years of doing YouTube, so let's just drop it. Now, believe me, when I say that I liked it. I liked generally how it looked and also the story. I think they adapted quite quickly to the outside circumstances. And I also know that this was not an easy movie to make because, like, Chadwick Boseman was the star of the show and suddenly he's gone and you have to do a film without your main lead and kind of fill the gap. But the gap can never be replaced. What Chadwick Boseman did as the lead of the film can never be replaced, and I think they handled it pretty well by not showing him and just alluding to it. It's also that he simply didn't film anything for, like, Black Panther 2, so they had to work around that. But I think they did a great job. Now, the story is very emotional. I think, in my opinion, if they had focused less on action pieces and made it more like a character drama similar to The Eternals, I would have liked the film more. But yeah, the integration, I don't know, the integration of Namor, I think, I don't know. I'm a huge comic fan, and so it's always kind of a disappointment, when you're seeing that stuff getting adapted to the big screen. I know that not everything will be the same, but literally this is a name-only adaptation because everything else is different about Namor in the film. He's an Atlantean. He works with a tumor, which would never happen in the comics because they are arch enemies. But hey, they kept the wings and the green tights. I guess that's nice. I think the reason why they changed so much about the subterranean or aquatic culture is to not draw comparisons to Aquaman or the upcoming Aquaman 2, because we already have that, so having a slightly different spin is great. They also kept the nature of Namor being more of an anti-hero. He's not exactly a villain, and lots of it in the movie, what happens just is based on misunderstandings. The problem here arises is that there are simpler fixes to that, and sometimes Namor is made does evil things for evil's sake, so he seems more evil. And to move on, Ironheart. I have no familiar connection to the character of Ironheart. I know she was brought into the comics to kind of replace Iron Man, but I have never read any Ironheart comics, and so I think her addition to the film, it was weird to go with such a new character for a big film, but I don't have a problem with it. I don't mind that she's anyway more akin to a MacGuffin in the film and doesn't have that much of a role, which is good because her costume sucks, or rather the CGI of her costume sucks. Same goes for the aquatic suits that Dora Milaje wears. They also look like dog shit. Shuri is in a very interesting position because before the well, in Black Panther 1, she didn't really have a character arc or a defining character. She was like a quirky assistant. Here they give a lot of edge and perspective, and they made enough choices to make her like a very, very different from her brother. That's not just character traits, but also in her goals. Angela Bassett kills it. Sadly, they kill off her character. Sorry if that surprises you. I think maybe they couldn't afford it anymore. Now there's this big scene in the trailer, where Angela Bassett's character's like, "I've lost everything." It works really well in the trailer, and it's also well acted. It just comes across a bit goofy in the actual movie. Which brings me to the last point that I want to discuss here, and that is, the film is unnecessarily long. And there's just not too much interesting stuff happening. When it focuses on the character interactions, it's really good, but then you have like action sequences that don't look nice because they're over edited and full of CGI, and it goes on forever, and the plot also just kind of never starts to kick in. You never really get to an understanding of why this conflict leads to this conflict. It's a sort of emotionally investing film, but it's also very draining aside from that, and Shuri only becomes in the third part, the Black Panther. It goes from the first act, and the first act is basically most of the movie, and then the third act suddenly sets in 40 minutes or like whatever before the movie ends, so it's about 3 hours long. I don't understand that. Generally, I still had a good time, and I think it was one of the better Marvel films of Phase 4. And I'm just generally kind of excited to see more what comes next again. I think I've had now a long breather watching other stuff than just superhero films in between, that I'm now ready to watch superhero stuff again. But yeah, those are my thoughts down the years. I'm excited to hear them and hear your thoughts and converse with you guys. Thanks again for 50 subscribers. That's awesome. I never imagined to get these numbers, and I hope I only grow bigger. So yeah, see you next time.
Don't forget to subscribe. Okay, fuckity bye.